Alright guys, in today's video we have some more PlayStation 5 news and information to go over and discuss. We are just coming off of the big reveal event, which was obviously very exciting, and there was a lot revealed, a lot of new games. We got to see the console, very awesome and exciting stuff. But there is more to go over here as more information has come out after the event through some interviews. And I think you guys are going to find this particularly interesting because the first topic has to do with PlayStation CEO Jim Ryan letting us know that we can expect more game reveals in the not too distant future. And I think this is important to highlight because while a lot of people, and I think it's safe to say most people, were impressed with the event and thought it was a solid event and walked away from it thinking, yeah, that was pretty awesome, I think we all kind of have a general sense of this is just the beginning, and we know for a fact that Sony has more to show. But it's nice to hear it coming from Sony themselves that for those who, and I believe this is the way Jim Ryan put it, for those who maybe didn't see anything at this event that really caught their eye, they want to stay tuned because there is more coming. So definitely want to talk about that. We're also talking about just how successful this event was for Sony. Apparently it was a colossal success when it comes to metrics and numbers, and so I wanted to take some time to relay this to you to let you know just how big of an impact this actually had and how many people showed up to watch this event live, and just how much support these trailers that are up on PlayStation's YouTube channel, how much support they're actually getting. It's actually kind of insane. And then finally, we are talking about the PlayStation 5 fan noise. This is something that I think a lot of people are kind of wondering. If they buy a PS5, can they expect it to run as loudly as their PlayStation 4 Pro or even their base model PS4? And it seems that Sony actually had something to say about this. And so I think you guys will be happy about that. So this is what we're talking about in today's video. So if you could do me a favor before we go any further, make sure you hit the like button to show your support and hit the subscribe button as well so you don't miss any future PlayStation content. And I know that there are some people wondering why I haven't talked about The Last of Us Part 2 review scores yet. Honestly, I'm going to. We will actually be talking about it tomorrow during the podcast. It's just that as of right now, I'm not going to lie to you guys, everything surrounding the PS5 and these PS5 games is capturing all of my attention, but tomorrow we're going to have plenty of time to talk about that. So if you're interested in it, make sure you tune into tomorrow's podcast. It's going to be a good one. So anyway, getting back on topic here, talking about what Jim Ryan had to say about future PlayStation 5 game reveals. It says, as part of PlayStation 5's reveal event, Sony announced or showed off more than 24 new games for the next generation console. This is just the beginning of what to expect in terms of games, according to PlayStation boss Jim Ryan. Jim Ryan told the BBC that Sony chose to spotlight games big and small during its briefing to let people know there will be a wide variety of gameplay options on the console. But if you didn't see anything you like, Jim Ryan stressed that more game reveals are coming. We wanted AAA games that would fully demonstrate the horsepower of the machine, but some of these smaller games are making very cool and innovative use of the new features of the console, he said, so we allowed the show to give a sense of the sheer range of gameplay experience that will be available on PlayStation 5, and this is just the start. There are so many more games that we have in development. It's a safe bet that all, or at least most, of Sony's first-party studios will at some point work on a PlayStation 5 game, so indeed, there are plenty more games to be announced, and this is to say nothing of the numerous third-party games for PS5 that have not been shown yet. Sony's Naughty Dog studio is about to release The Last of Us Part 2 for PS4 on June 19th, and it's a pretty safe bet that the company's next game will be made for PS5. Naughty Dog's Neil Druckmann recently teased that the studio is considering its options for what comes next, whether that be The Last of Us Part 3, a new IP, or something else entirely. So I wanted to add that part in at the end because that is something that Naughty Dog went on record saying recently, and so I had to take time to highlight this because people are wondering, where's Silent Hill? Where is the rumored SOCOM game or Killzone reboot or whatever it is that Guerrilla Games, their second team, is working on? What about Crash Bandicoot? We've been hearing about that. You know, just a bunch of different games that some people were certainly expecting to see revealed at this event, and they didn't show up. I'd say Silent Hill is probably the #1 game that it's like, we know this is a thing. We know it's in the works. It just turns out that Sony is maybe thinking about holding off on the announcement. Now, the reason why I'm highlighting this as well is also because I want to let you guys know that I think that there is more we can expect for sure to be announced before the end of the year. The reason why I say this is we know Sony. Sony is always paying attention to their competition, and they're always trying to, I don't want to say one-up their competition, I guess you could say that, but they're just trying to be one step ahead of their competition. And because of that, we know that Microsoft has their big July game showcase, and according to what we've heard, Microsoft plans to put all the cards on the table during this July event, and I don't doubt that. In fact, it makes total sense that that's when they would want to do it. Sony is most likely, obviously I'd say, well aware of this. So did Sony decide to show all of their cards, to show their entire hand at this event? Something tells me they didn't. Something tells me that they still have at least a few cards hidden up their sleeve that they plan to save to talk about and reveal and show off after Microsoft's July event. I could be wrong on that. That is speculation on my part, but if you pay attention to what Jim Ryan is saying here, I think if you read between the lines, that's kind of what he's trying to say. That look, we want to show big games, small games, but not all the games at this event. And if you didn't see anything you liked yet, which to me is hard to believe because there was a lot to like here, but if you didn't, stay tuned, we have more coming. So had to take some time to highlight that, but moving on from that, we are talking about just how successful this reveal event was in terms of metrics for Sony. The PS5 reveal event has come and gone. The presentation, which lasted a little over an hour, showcased a bunch of next-gen games and gave us our very first look at the console itself. Just going by the English language broadcast that we watched on YouTube, it was immediately clear that a lot of people tuned in to this thing, but the overall statistics are even more impressive than we thought. According to esports charts, the PS5 reveal event broadcast peaked at over 7 million viewers, which is staggering. That number includes all of the official streams as well as all of the restreams from streamers who watched along with their own audiences. So I guess that would count my channel. We are grouped into this. The average viewership across the entire broadcast, which includes the hour-long wait at the start, was around 4 million. Crazy numbers. Now, this article I'm reading from, they go on to talk about the metrics that some of these videos, individual videos for the games, are gathering, as well as the hardware reveal video. And this article is actually about a day old at this point. So I'm gonna live right now, as I'm recording the video, look at the statistics on the PlayStation YouTube channel. And it's crazy because there's just so many different videos. But if you look at the English version, it's at 11 million views at this point. But if you also look at the hardware reveal, that is currently sitting at 16 million views. Now, to put that in perspective, if you go search the Xbox Series X hardware reveal video, which is pretty old at this point, it's been out for quite some time. It's been out for months. That's currently sitting at 12 million views. Within one day, within about 24 hours, it's already surpassed that, and it's sitting at 16 million views. It almost has 1 million likes. That is insanely impressive. But if you also look at some of the games, you look at Horizon Forbidden West, already sitting at 4.3 million views, which is extremely impressive. We have the Resident Evil trailer sitting at 1.8 million views. We also have the Demon Souls trailer sitting at 1.8 million views, also extremely impressive. Gran Turismo 7 sitting at 2.5 million views. Even Godfall sitting at a little over half a million views. We have like 650,000 for them, which is fine, considering it's not the biggest game. But even looking at some of these other games like Returnal, that's sitting over 550,000 views. That's not bad for a new IP at all. Ratchet & Clank currently sitting at 2.2 million views. Project Athia sitting at 1.4 million views. And then we have Spider-Man sitting at over 7.6 million views, which is absolutely astonishing. So the reason why I'm listing off all these numbers is because, make no mistake, Sony is pulling in absolutely huge viewership here, and they are getting just in tremendous exposure, and that cannot be understated. So if you are sitting back wondering just how big of an impact this event actually had, let these numbers do the talking. Absolutely huge. And that just, that does make me feel good, because obviously we're all PlayStation fans here, and it's just nice to see that it's continuing to grow, and it's, growing in popularity. And that's good, because the more people that support it, the more games we're going to get, and that's just good for everybody at the end of the day. But to finish off this video, we are talking about the PlayStation 5's fan noise. It says we already know that the PS5 has been designed with an innovative new cooling system in mind, and Sony has reiterated that a lot has been done to make the next-gen system as quiet as possible. In an interview with The Guardian, Sony Europe boss Simon Rutter says a great deal of effort has gone into making sure that the PS5 is less noisy than the PS4. As many of you will already know, the PS4 can be pretty loud, largely depending on the age and usage rate of the console. Older systems can sound like jet engines while playing certain games that either demand a lot from the hardware or aren't especially well optimized. This is a problem I've had a lot, honestly. This is something that I've actually complained a little bit about on my channel here, and it is something that I really do hope. It sounds like Sony really has it under control here, but it's one of my big hopes for when I pick up a PS5, when I play these games. I don't expect it to be completely silent, but if it's like whisper quiet, then that's great. That's awesome in my opinion. And it says the aforementioned cooling system no doubt plays into the PS5's unorthodox design, with the console's quote popped collar unquote giving way to a number of vents on the inner casing. Of course, only time will tell whether the PS5 can keep a lid on fan noise unlike its predecessor. So the reason why I'm highlighting this is because it's very clear, in my opinion, because Sony's willing to talk about it, that they have taken this into consideration. We heard from Mark Cerny as well as others just how excited they are to show off their cooling solution, and it seems like they really went all in with the cooling solution, and you can tell that the console is designed around it. And it sounds like, to me, we can expect this console to be whisper quiet. We don't have to worry about it sounding like a jet engine. I think Sony has heard the feedback loud and clear, but I just had to take some time to mention this because they are still talking about it, and that's important to highlight, because if this console was potentially going to be as loud as the PS4 Pro, this is something they would kind of keep under wraps and wouldn't really say anything about. Right, so that's pretty much going to do it for the video, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. We do have more information to go over, but we're going to talk about a lot more stuff during tomorrow's podcast. It will be happening at 12 p.m. Eastern, so I hope to see you here. But at this point, I'm going to ask you to leave me your thoughts down in the comments below. Again, leave the video a like if you did enjoy it or found it informative. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and haven't already. Hit the bell notification icon so you never miss an upload, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.